July 1977. Memphis was heavy with summer heat, the kind that clung to the air like a ghost that refused to leave. Graceland stood still that night, the house of the king, now quiet as a mausoleum. No laughter, no rhythm, no echoes of a band rehearsing, just the soft hum of an old ceiling fan and the faint ticking of a clock that hadn't been wound in days. Elvis Presley sat alone in his music room. The lights were dim, casting long shadows across gold records and framed photographs. He had sent everyone home hours ago. "I just need some quiet tonight," he had said earlier, his tone low, almost apologetic. And now, surrounded by trophies of a life larger than any man could bear, he sat with only one companion, an old reel-to-reel tape recorder. A blank tape was already inside. On its label, one word: forgive. Elvis stared at the machine for a long moment, his fingers trembling as he reached for the piano keys. His reflection looked back at him from the polished black surface. Not the icon the world adored, but a man weary of his own legend. "This one's not for the charts," he whispered. "This one's for her." He pressed record. The tape hissed softly, and then for the last time, the voice that had once conquered the world began to sing. When the lights go down and the crowd fades away, it was fragile, human, imperfect, not the voice of a performer, the confession of a man who'd spent too long pretending to be immortal. That night, Elvis Presley didn't record a song. He recorded a goodbye. Weeks later, after his sudden death shook the world, Graceland's staff began cataloging everything inside the mansion, room by room, box by box. Behind the grand piano, wedged between the wall and a wooden stool, a small box was discovered, dust-covered, unmarked, except for a faint inscription on its lid: "For her." Inside was a single tape and a note written in blue ink: "When the world goes silent, play this." The staff didn't know what to make of it. It wasn't part of the RCA archives, no official record mentioned it, and within days, it disappeared. Years passed, and with them, the legend grew. Whispers of a lost Elvis recording, the final song no one had ever heard. Until 2024. In the spring of 2024, music historian Dr. Lara Kent was granted special access to Graceland's private archives. Her task: to digitize thousands of forgotten recordings and documents. For weeks, she worked alone in the mansion's basement, surrounded by stacks of boxes labeled confidential, private sessions, not for release. Then, one rainy afternoon, she came across a tape with an unusual tag: "Private Archive, do not catalog." Curious, she connected the old reel to her restoration setup. The tape hissed, then went quiet, and then, unmistakably, his voice. Elvis, older, tired, but unmistakably him. "I didn't sing this for fame," the voice said softly. "I sang it to be forgiven." Lara froze. It wasn't a performance. It was a confession, the kind that wasn't meant for anyone else to hear. She sat in silence as the song played, every line dripping with regret, memory, and something unspoken. Love, maybe, or loss. When it ended, Lara knew this was no ordinary recording. This was his last message to someone. Lara replayed the recording again and again, trying to catch every breath, every whisper. On the 10th listen, she noticed something strange: a faint, melodic echo behind Elvis's voice. It wasn't reverb. It was another voice, a woman's voice, soft, subtle, almost like harmony. Lara ran a frequency analysis. The waveform confirmed it. Two separate voices recorded simultaneously. She searched through the 1960s touring rosters and studio session notes. Only one name appeared as a female backup vocalist who worked privately with Elvis during an unreleased tour in 1966. Mary Ellis. But Mary Ellis was a ghost. No photographs, no public records after 1983. Her apartment in Nashville had been cleared out decades ago. Neighbors said she moved away suddenly. One more clue surfaced, a diary entry from one of Elvis's former assistants, written days before his death. He's been talking about Mary again, says he wrote her something. That something might have been the tape. Dr. Kent began a deep digital scan of the tape, and that's when she noticed it. Beneath the music, at the edge of audible range, a pulsing rhythm, a frequency too structured to be random. When converted into visual waves, the pattern revealed a word. 3 words, actually. She still listens. Laura's heart pounded. This wasn't a coincidence. This was deliberate. Elvis, known for his obsession with sound, might have encoded a message, a secret hidden inside the fabric of the song itself. But why? Was he trying to reach Mary? Or was he leaving a message for someone else entirely? The thought haunted her. Maybe, she whispered, it was meant for the world. Lara decided to prepare an official report for the Graceland Foundation. But before she could submit it, everything changed. The night before her presentation, someone broke into her office. No forced entry, no fingerprints. Only one thing was missing: the tape. Police dismissed it as a random burglary, but Lara knew better. 3 days later, a small envelope appeared in her mailbox. No return address. Inside was a USB drive and a handwritten note. Some voices were never meant to fade. They're echoes, eternal. She plugged in the USB drive. The file was the same recording, but at the very end, something new. Elvis's voice, barely audible, whispered, "I hope she forgave me." And then a woman's voice responded, gentle, peaceful, like a breath carried on wind. "I forgave you, Elvis." The final second was silence, a silence so heavy, so absolute, that it felt alive. Months later, Graceland Museum received a small anonymous package. Inside was a single tape. The label read, "Property of the King." It was placed in the private archives far from public display. Visitors never see it. But under that dusty shelf, carved faintly into the wood, are words no one can explain. Some songs aren't meant to be heard. They're meant to be felt. No one knows who carved it, but security guards swear that late at night, when the halls are empty, they sometimes hear a faint melody through the intercom system, a song that no one can trace, coming from speakers that haven't worked in decades. A fragile guitar note, a soft hum, a man's voice carried through time. Maybe Elvis is still singing, or maybe his final song never stopped playing, because legends die, but echoes never fade. Elvis's never-heard final song has emerged. Dr. Lara Kent's discovery isn't just a recording. It's a mystery, a message, a love story. Subscribe to American Enigma and uncover music history's darkest secrets. Turn on notifications. Share your theory in the comments, because some voices never die. They just echo.